Breyare Tender and Josh Slack are part of Carmen Jones, a musical opening May 3rd at Fresno State. They're here to talk about this exciting production. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
So, most people have heard of Carmen, the opera Carmen. This is the opera Carmen, but just in a kind of a different format and style, right?
Yes.
What can you tell us about it, Breyare?
So it's the opera Carmen as a musical. So the musical was first created in the 1940s, and then the 50s it was then adapted into a film with Harry Belafonte and Dorothy Dandridge, which a lot of people know about the film, not necessarily the musical. A little bit later in time, in 2001, it was then turned into another film with Beyonce and Mos Def, which was called a hip-hop opera. Both of those films, Carmen Jones, the movie in the 50s, and hip-hop opera, all date back to the original opera
So
of
this
Carmen.
is the original opera, the story of
Carmen.
and you play Carmen.
Yes, I do.
What can you tell us about Carmen, the character?
Oh yeah, well, Carmen is just a woman that's trying to find love. And she's trying to find love in a way that's very genuine. But she's gotten to a point at the beginning of the play where she has not found that love that is genuine. And the person that she thinks she sees it in ends up not wanting her, but she keeps going after him because she's drawn to people that don't want her, and she ends up getting what she wants. So it's basically, you then follow the love story of Carmen and this character Joe, and you see where that love story ends up taking you at the end of the musical.
So Josh, you are not usually associated with musicals.
No.
I don't think I've ever. Is this your first?
This is my first musical, yes.
This is your first musical. Who do you play?
I play Joe. I play the love interest in Carmen Jones.
So what is it like to kind of dive into a musical, and this is your last production at Fresno State?
It's a lot of patience. A lot of patience is required for a musical, not so much like a regular production is, and also dealing with a larger cast as well. I'm used to more intimate cast, so to deal with a lot more castmates and a lot more technical things that are thrown into production, it teaches me a lot about just what it takes to put on something of such grand scheme.
So just to be clear, this is the original music from Carmen.
Yes.
And then there are different lyrics that have been added. And this particular production is actually really distinctive and special, right? Because it's updating it to a later time.
Yes.
So
So
tell us about that period.
We've changed the time period, and we've taken it from the 40s and have put it in the 70s. And we've also taken it from being on a Navy base to it being on a college campus, and it's on a historically black college campus. So you see a lot of Greek influence in it with stepping, and you see a lot of the college campus culture influence through the characters in Carmen.
So you've got a lot of bell bottoms,
bell bottoms,
big hair,
big
afro,
afros, yes.
And that's probably just like ancient history to both of you, right?
Yeah, I mean, like, not ancient, I would say, but it's like, it's there.
Not quite Romans and Greeks.
Yeah, of course.
Right.
Yeah, so their parents always reminisce about the good old days, so.
So are you both opera singers? Or how is the musical style? What's the vocal style?
It's very much so soulful. We've made sure that we stayed true to the culture of the people in the cast. So we're not singing them in operatic melodies. We're singing them in more soulful melodies, but they are the exact same notes, the exact same music. It's just we've put our own twist on it.
So this is kind of a medium-sized cast for a musical, but it features some community members as well. So tell us about yourself, Breyare.
Yes. Well, I am actually a bicoastal and international professional artist. I graduated from Fresno State back in 2014, but went on to get my master's degree at Wayne State University in Detroit and at the Moscow Art Theater. So now I work as a director, choreographer, and an actor and dancer internationally and bicoastally between Los Angeles, New York, Moscow, and Berlin. So that's what I do.
So you're a guest artist.
Yes, I am a guest artist for this show here.
Were you in a musical when you were at Fresno State?
I was. I was in Carmen. That was actually the last show I did at Fresno before I left.
Cabaret.
I mean, not Carmen. I'm lying. I'm lying. Well, that is the last show I'm doing at Fresno State. But before that, the last musical I did here was Cabaret.
It was Cabaret.
Yes.
And then you were telling me that you've done a lot of other some really interesting musicals.
Since then, yeah. I've done Next to Normal in Detroit. But a lot of my work is in film and straight plays.
And Josh, you are going somewhere exciting after
Yes.
graduation. Tell us about that.
Yes, I'll be attending the Art of Acting Studio in Los Angeles, which is in, well, specifically in Hollywood, which is the sister location of the Stella Adler Acting Conservatory in New York. Pretty much the same school, and but this has a bigger concentration in film and in the film industry. So with the program, 2.5-year program, learning different acting techniques, acting on camera, improv, Shakespeare. And then the final semester, I get to work with casting directors and get to work with casting agencies and get to really start to be tailored more towards the acting industry and the business.
And just think all of those Netflix, Hulu,
Yes.
Amazon Prime series out there. It's like a great time to be an actor.
Exactly.
There's
Great
so
time.
much work out
There's so
there.
much demand, and it's going to only get better.
Yeah. So just remind us, when does Carmen Jones open, and how long does it run for?
All right, so we open on next Friday, May 3rd through the 11th. So that is that May 3rd, the Friday, Saturday, that's Sunday matinee. No show on that Monday. Then we have Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and we'll be finished.
And it's a pretty big deal because Fresno State only does a musical every other year,
Yes.
right? So this is special.
Yeah,
so
very
if you're a
special.
musical fan, you got to get out there and support it.
Definitely.
And it's the first black musical done on the stage.
And the
so-
first black musical done
In
at Fresno
Fresno.
State ever,
Yeah,
right?
Fresno State
Yeah.
ever.
And it's beautiful because there's a lot of community, speaking on community members, there's some athletes in it as well. Football players, basketball players who are getting the opportunity to see what an artist does. And they're also getting the opportunity to step outside of their cleats for a day. So it's
Well,
cool.
that's great. That's a great line, too. Well, thank you so much for coming.
Of course.
This will be
Yes.
exciting for me. I've never seen it, so it's always
Definitely.
fun to see a new production.
Definitely. Thank you.
Thank
All right,
you.
thanks.
Thank you for having us.